Police were called in to escort former Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Tourism, Commerce and Industry, Karen van Sluytman Corbin, from the premises of the ministry's office on South Road after she turned up to retrieve her belongings on Monday morning and found the locks to her office door had been changed. When asked the reason as to why police was called in to escort the former Permanent Secretary, this is what she had to say.
I understand that, but I don't know why, because I was not behaving in any way hostile or threatening or, any manner that would warrant police to have to come to get me out of the building.
Mrs. van Sluytman Corbin is positing that while she was removed as Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, she turned up to her office to remove her personal belongings, and when that proved futile, she asked to meet and speak with the minister, who informed that she would not be available until the following week.
I came this morning to retrieve my personal belongings that I have in my office and observe the locks have been changed, so I've not been able to access the office. I, however, went to the minister's office to see her to inquire how I could be able to remove my items, and I was told to check back with her next week.
Meanwhile, the ministry, in addressing the issue via a press release, posited that the former Permanent Secretary was informed of her reassignment, job description and new place of work at the exhibition center in Sophia on Friday last, while she was still at the office. The statement further posited that after being informed of her reassignment, Mrs. Corbin indicated to the minister that she would not accept the reassignment, nor would she vacate office. The statement added that Mrs. van Sluytman Corbin refused to vacate the premises on Monday morning. Thus, the police was called in to escort her from the building. After all these events unfolded, Mrs. van Sluytman Corbin requested to meet with the minister, and when questioned as to the reason for her request, she revealed that she wished to remove her personal belongings, which permission was granted for under supervision, and which Mrs. van Sluytman Corbin secured after permission was given, the statement added. When asked how she felt about her reassignment, Mrs. van Sluytman Corbin had this to say.
Well, I would not want to answer that at this point in time, but as every career public servant, you always aspire to move up and to be treated equally and justly and fairly.
On Thursday last, it was revealed that at least 8 permanent secretaries were replaced at several government ministries, while Mrs. Sharon Rupchand Edwards will take up the mantle of the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce. A Permanent Secretary can be seen as the Chief Administrative Officer of a ministry and is responsible for the day-to-day management of that agency. He or she advises the minister and is expected to follow religiously the prescribed laws in spending and budgeting for the ministry. He or she is also expected to appear before the Public Accounts Committee of the Parliament to answer to any discrepancies as it relates to spending by that ministry. Wendell Badrie for the HGP Nightly News.